In season 17, episode 19 of Family Guy, Meg ends up with diabetes, and it all starts when she and her family attend a streaming convention. Peter, being his usual self, goes wild with antics like taking selfies on hospital beds.
Don't really want to get into it, but I'm fine. Oh boy, well this is the last thing I wanted.
He then live streams on Instagram and picks a fight with a gangster, resulting in an arm injury. But luckily, Peter manages to escape.
I got away! Hey guys, I'm in an Uber heading back to Streaming Con. Man bun alert.
Back at the convention, Peter challenges Corey to make Meg an internet celebrity. Corey immediately helps Meg become famous on Twitter with the nickname FridgeBodMeg.
Oh my god, Dad, I'm trending on Twitter!
Once home, Peter assists Meg in building her personal brand by filming videos for her. However, this father-daughter duo isn't exactly a match made in heaven, and Peter gets scared, leaving Meg to fend for herself. Meg, fueled by her passion, continues to film videos on her own. This time she invites everyone to tour her fridge and eat everything inside, from yogurt to raw meat. This might not be Meg's smartest decision, but it sure makes the audience laugh when she ends up spending hours on the toilet due to digestive issues.
Sponsored by Oscar Mayer and Lando Lakes. If it's not Lando Lakes, it's not cream!
During this ordeal, she snaps a hilarious photo promoting a toilet paper brand, gaining even more followers on Twitter. Meg quickly lands various advertising deals, including one for Magic Shell topping. In a hilarious twist, Peter uses the topping to turn himself into Han Solo, but then another Peter shows up and the two argue over who the real Peter is. I mean, come on, a topping can't beat the real deal, right? And Lois just ends up killing an ice cream, right?
Damn.
Thank God, Lois. Does anyone mind if I turn the thermostat down to 32 degrees?
But none of that matters because it helps Meg become even more famous, though she's also gaining weight from all the sugar. Meg, now famous with the hashtag #FridgeBodMeg, continues her journey. She grabs what looks like 7 liters of corn syrup and, cheered on by her fans, drinks it all and passes out. Luckily, Brian shows up in a Hummer. I borrowed it from the garage while they fixed my girly car, and rushes Meg to the hospital. On the way, Brian notices Meg's middle finger smells funny.
Her middle finger smells weird!
Do you know what it smells like? Comment below. Just kidding, keep it to yourself. At the hospital, Dr. Hartman diagnoses Meg with type 2 diabetes. Her blood is like sap in Vermont gold. After waking up, Meg becomes the face of the diabetes medication Pancresta, and things go downhill from there as she uses Pancresta as a painkiller.
Pancresta makes opiates look like baby aspirin.
Lois warns Meg that the medication doesn't work and could lead to blindness and losing her legs. But of course, Meg doesn't care. Her diabetes worsens and she can only lie in bed because her legs have complications and she can't walk. Yet her endless passion for fame drives her to continue filming eating videos from her bed, featuring sugary and starchy foods. Her neighbor Joe senses something's wrong with Meg's legs. He has a knack for connecting with people who've lost their leg.
Meg's feet are gone, rotted. I have a gift for knowing when something bad happens to someone's legs. Kind of like a shining.
Indeed, her legs have become necrotic. Now in a wheelchair, Meg attends a rally in her honor at school. There she meets her friends who have become obese from following her sugary and starchy diet.
If anyone remembered what we looked like, it would be shocking how fat we are.
You've inspired us to gain all this weight, and we just wanted to say thanks.
Oh no!
At this moment, Meg realizes her mistake. She looks out at the hall filled with thousands of obese fans waiting for her. She feels scared and blames herself for making everyone overweight. After calming down, Meg decides to warn everyone about the dangers of unhealthy eating. This enrages her fans, who stomp their feet and demand the return of the old FridgeBodMeg.
Bring back the fridge! Bring back the fridge! Bring back the fridge! Bring back the fridge!
With the combined weight of thousands of obese fans stomping, a horrifying scene unfolds as the hall collapses, crushing an old janitor, leaving only his legs visible. From that point on, things get better. Meg gets new legs and returns to her normal life.
So, Good news all around.
In Season 7, Episode 11, Meg gets the mumps thanks to her dad, Peter Griffin. The story unfolds when the Griffin family attends a Star Trek convention. Meg complains to Peter that it's super boring, but Peter is thrilled and eager to explore new things, starting with LeVar Burton's glasses.
Oh no! Is that
Why
really?
would he wear these?
Is that really what he
Who
saw?
would invent these for him?
Meg's nightmare begins
really
when
what he
Peter
saw,
spots
though?
a guy in an awesome costume with an alien-like face and immediately wants Meg to take a picture with him. Meg tries to refuse, but you know she can't say no to Peter, right? After the photo, the guy reveals that he has the mumps, not a mask, which freaks out the family.
Hey, how'd you make that awesome mask?
It's not a mask. I have the mumps.
What? You came to a Star Trek convention with the mumps?
But it's too late. Meg catches the mumps because she wasn't vaccinated, all thanks to Peter's ignorance. Poor Meg gets teased by Chris and Stewie for her swollen face. Meanwhile, Peter, terrified of catching the mumps, brings a TV to Meg's room while wearing a hazmat suit with a long breathing tube, thinking he'll be safe.
I would be
But
very
no,
terrified of
Stewie
catching
pranks
the
him by
mumps.
filling the tube with toxic
No.
gas, causing Peter to choke and vomit violently. Well, Peter totally deserved that, didn't he?
I mean,
Feeling bored, Meg watches religious shows featuring Kirk Cameron,
No.
which give her a newfound faith in life, especially feeling more loved by God than by her dad, Peter.
Your mother made soup for you. Here you go, honey.
Well, you know who does love you? The Lord.
Here's your milk.
After 5 days bedridden, Meg bounces downstairs full of energy, much to Lois's delight and Peter's surprise. Peter, shocked that Meg is still alive, jokes that she'll need a college fund and tells Chris to sell their performing camel, Humpy, to raise money for her. Meg believes that God healed her and feels reborn. She shares with everyone that she was bathed in the blood of the Lamb and had everything about God explained to her by Kirk Cameron. She becomes the most devout believer in the family, ready to forgive all the terrible things Peter has done to her by letting him say grace before meals.
Dear Lord, please give me the cheat codes for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I have been stuck on Bald Bull for 4 years. I tried left, up, B, dodge, uppercut, but he still knocks me out.
Seeing Meg go overboard, Lois advises her to tone it down, but Meg ignores her and turns her attention to Brian, discovering that he's an atheist. This shocks the family, but they understand Brian has his reasons.
I mean, look at the Hubble telescope. It's discovered untold wonders of a vast, unexplored universe, but not one picture of a guy with a beard sitting around on a cloud.
Meg gifts Brian a cross, hoping he'll open his heart to God, but Brian treats it like a toy. Undeterred, Meg invites Kirk Cameron's brother, Growing Pains, to talk to Brian about God, but it seems Meg and this guy have a deal.
They got my picture up at the drugstore and they won't sell me any Sudafed. I'll make it worth your while.
Ben!
Dad?
Ben! What have I told you about trading sexual favors for Sudafed?
Brian gets annoyed with Meg's attempts to change him, and despite her explanations, he remains an atheist dog. So Meg does something bad. She tells everyone Brian is an atheist. The news spreads quickly, and Brian is mentioned on the evening news. Angry at Meg, Brian reassures himself that everything will be fine. But no, people start coming to the house and throwing things to protest Brian.
I thought only he without sin could cast the first Prius.
Ha!
It doesn't stop there. Brian is denied city services, and worst of all, no bar will serve him drinks. This led to a hilarious situation where Brian asked Chris to pretend to be an adult to buy alcohol for him. However, this plan failed because, well, you know, Chris doesn't have an ID that says he's of legal age.
How does he
Brian,
not have
frustrated
an
by
ID?
his lack of booze, starts hallucinating bottles spinning around his head.
Come on, you know you want to drink.
Yeah, come on, Brian, drink us.
Come on, drink me. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, you big silly ass. Just wrap your lips around me and take a big gulp.
Despite being mad at Meg, he pretends to be enlightened and starts believing in God just to get his drinks back, making Meg hug him with joy. Brian tells Meg to spread the news so he can return to normal life. To celebrate, Brian suggests they drink like Jesus did.
Do you like the wine?
Very much. What is it?
Take a guess.
I have to leave.
Nah, sit down.
Bill Cosby.
Meg wants Brian to join
Work
in
for
a
Bill
book
Cosby.
burning, believing these books could harm God. Brian refuses and admits he lied about being enlightened just to drink. He advises Meg to wake up because book burning is wrong. She doesn't listen until Brian's persuasive words finally make her see reason.
If there were a God, would he have put you here on Earth with a flat chest and a fat ass? And what kind of God would put you in a house where no one respects or cares about you, not even enough to get you a damn mumps shot?
Meg acknowledges Brian is right, but wonders, if not God, what should she believe in? Brian's answer, believe in yourself, Meg. Meg suffered from septic shock in season 12, episode 4. Curious to know why? Let me tell you the story. Meg went to school as usual, opened her locker, and found her baby calling her mama. She immediately threw a book to crush him. Poor kid. When Meg's friends showed up, she turned into a different person, more friendly. She was surprised when they called her Megan and explained that Meg was short for something fun.
She really died boning hot dogs? Damn. I would say there's probably worse ways to go, but we gonna edit that out.
Funnier.
Well, actually, Meg is short for something else.
Peter, would you give this to the nurse?
Uh-huh. Robots in disguise.
Meg's peaceful days were about to end with the arrival of Mike Pulaski, a tall, bullying student. The atmosphere at school became tense. Neil had a brilliant idea to make peace with the bully by befriending him. Whoa, great idea, but it turned Neil into a balloon in Mike's hands.
Oh, damn.
Awesome.
At lunchtime, Meg and her friends were so engrossed in their conversation that Meg accidentally bumped into Mike, spilling food on his shirt. Terrified, she apologized immediately. Mike coldly asked her name, and her brother Chris eagerly answered for her.
Meg Griffin!
Mike told Meg he would deal with her at 3 p.m. on Friday. Meg started planning for the fight, first by reclaiming her back skin from Chris. Ew, what was Chris doing with Meg's back skin? Do you know? Back at school, Principal Shepard announced the betting rules for Meg Griffin's fight on Friday, making Meg even more scared and clueless about what to do. Her friends advised her to find a way out of the fight. Meg went home and told her mom she wanted to transfer schools, suggesting Carlisle Academy, which led the state and pregnant students, hoping to meet someone.
Mom, please. There's other schools.
Pregnant?
Carlisle Academy leads the state in teen pregnancies, so I might meet somebody.
Really, Meg? But Lois definitely said no. Meg came up with a crazy idea to upload a video of her playing with frozen sausages online, hoping it would go viral and get her expelled. Unfortunately, her plan failed as the video got only one view, from her brother Stewie.
Ooh.
You know what? Good for her.
Not giving up, she paid $1,000 to hire 4 big guys to help her beat Mike, but the result was disastrous.
What's going on? Did that kid from the future come back?
Oh! Damn, you're next, Meg.
Oh no!
Meg was terrified by the scene. She tried everything but to no avail. She even imagined her own funeral.
Thanks, didn't want to pay for the whole.
Meg's close friends, fearing they might get involved, abandoned her. Feeling desperate, Meg cried a lot, but just then her savior appeared, Quagmire. Wait, why is Quagmire in the girls' bathroom at a high school? Because it's his base for a mission.
This is my base of operations.
Mr. Quagmire, the girls' gym class will be in the showers in 20 minutes.
Thank you, Shirley. She's been with me 12 years. It's her birthday today. Didn't get her anything. Ugh.
Seeing Meg in big trouble, Quagmire decided to help, promising to train her to defeat Mike. Quagmire shared that he made a mistake in high school by not standing up to his bully, and that's why he would do his best to help Meg overcome this ordeal. Quagmire taught Meg to channel her anger by wearing a mask of Peter and signaling her to punch it hard. This led to a funny situation where Joe and Dr. Hartman mistook Quagmire for Peter.
I don't know, he's just so needy, and I feel like he's jealous of our friendship.
Hey, Peter. Hey, Joe. I'm glad you guys are here. I've got terrible, gross medical news for Quagmire. Maybe you can help me break it to him.
Back to training, Quagmire advised Meg to use her most powerful weapon, her disgusting body. To get in shape for the fight, he made Meg drink raw eggs, but she wondered why there were no yolks.
I don't see any yolks.
Just drink it.
Do you know why there were no yolks? I bet you do, right? The much anticipated battle between Mike and Meg arrived. Everyone predicted Meg would lose, even thinking about attending her funeral.
Hey, who you taking to Meg's funeral?
I'm taking Jill. No, wise guy, we're going as friends.
She asked Mike not to hit her chest as it was a sensitive area, but Mike wasn't one to talk. He punched Meg, grabbed her by the neck, and kept hitting her face, making her look both beautiful and ugly.
Just stop there! Punch Rocky Dennis!
It's okay, guys. I'm at peace with what I'm all about.
Quagmire reminded her to use her disgustingness. She started counterattacking with a kiss, which stunned Mike and made him miss his punches. Meg quickly followed up with an acne attack, causing her opponent to vomit on the spot. She finished with a display of her disgusting body, making Mike melt in agony. Yes, she won, but 1 year later, her body reacted to a frozen sausage, leading to septic shock and death.
A year later, my body reacted to a frozen hot dog, and I died of septic shock. I became the public face of internal hot dog defrosting.
In season 11, episode 12 of Family Guy, Meg loses a kidney. Yes, you heard that right. She loses one of her kidneys to a handsome organ trafficker. The story unfolds on Valentine's Day when Meg connects with a charming guy named Toby online. Excited, she agrees to go on a date with him. When they first meet, Meg compliments Toby, saying he looks just like his picture, but he jokes that she doesn't.
What? Yeah, that's a candid from a summer job I had.
Toby then reassures her that she looks even better in person. Before leaving the house, Meg tells Brian and Stewie not to wait up for her, implying she'll be spending the night with Toby.
Don't wait up, boys.
Meg feels great as they share common interests, like their love for Coldplay. As they toast to their wonderful date, boom, Meg is drugged by this bad boy.
So what should we do next?
When she wakes up in a motel, she is horrified to find a surgical scar on her side and asks Toby what happened. He casually replies that he harvested her kidney. What surprises me is that Meg isn't angry about losing her kidney. She's upset about the size and the scar of the incision. Toby explains that it was his first time doing this, so she should cut him some slack. Only then does Meg get truly angry about losing her kidney. Toby apologizes and reveals that this job makes him a lot of money. As he tries to leave, Meg stops him and insists he fulfill his promise to spend the entire Valentine's Day with her. Faced with Meg's determination, Toby agrees. During their time together, we learn that Meg had a conjoined twin sister who died after being separated from her.
By the way, did you know you had a tiny conjoined twin attached to your hip?
Is it worth anything?
It is to me. I've been using it as a bookmark.
With her wound still bleeding, Meg and the organ trafficker enjoy a fun day together, eating ice cream, ice skating, and drawing caricatures.
Definitely got ice skate. Definitely got to draw caricatures.
At the end of the day, Toby takes Meg home and, before leaving, gives her a gift. Guess what it is?
Toby.
Ooh, it's Meg's kidney. But Meg's reaction is what shocks me the most. She happily accepts it and says it's the best Valentine's Day ever, and they kiss. Chilling, isn't it? Meg suffers from hemorrhoids in season 18, episode 18. When she arrives at school, she finds out that classes are canceled, but no one bothered to inform her. Returning home, she finds the house empty. Calling Lois to ask where everyone is, she is shocked when Lois and Peter pretend not to know her, claiming the real Meg is with them. In reality, it's just a dummy they set up to avoid celebrating poor Meg's birthday. Feeling down, Meg heads to the bowling alley for some distraction, but the place is just as dreary. On TV, there's news of a severe car accident with one fatality. Joe rushes to the Griffin house to deliver the tragic news that Meg was the victim, and her body was burned beyond recognition, leaving only her driver's license for identification. Peter is confused because Meg is right there, thinking Joe was joking until a strong gust of wind blew the hat off the wooden dummy, revealing the truth.
You know, it's weird that didn't happen on the pier all day.
Or when we rented that convertible.
Back at the bowling alley, Meg discovers that Bruh mistakenly gave her driver's license to another girl, leading everyone to believe she was dead. And the saddest part? No one seemed to care. But wait, there's a silver lining. Quiznos cared enough to light a bunch of lanterns for her.
Quiznos, eat fresh. I hope. Eat fresh.
At Meg's memorial service, almost no one showed up and no one offered condolences to her family. Witnessing this, Meg became furious and declared she would leave town to start a new life, but she accidentally opened the wrong door, angering the priest.
Oh, I bet.
Sorry.
Don't you know what a rosary on a doorknob means?
In the pouring rain, Meg asked Siri to play Kiss from a Rose by Seal, then laid flowers on her own grave. She moved into a new apartment, which she repaired and decorated herself. There, she made new friends under the name Natalie Hallway. They invited her to a welcome party on the rooftop, but she couldn't sit on a chair without a cushion due to her hemorrhoids.
To Natalie Hallway, our new friend.
Hemorrhoids.
Natalie, sit down. Tell us about yourself.
No! What of you?
At school, after Meg's death, Chris became popular and received many privileges, like using the driver's ed car whenever he wanted. Meg wanted to forget her past in Quahog, so she constantly lied to her new friends, claiming she had lived at the US Embassy in South Korea, or was one of the first black women to study math for NASA, making them exclaim, "Your mom must be so proud of you." Just then, Lois posted a tribute to Meg's childhood, making her miss her family.
She said that her mom was the first black woman to do something? Missing this one today, her baby teeth never came in, so we got her dentures.
She called Chris, hoping he would help her return home. Chris was surprised to see Meg alive.
Alive?
After learning that Meg wanted to come home, Chris surprised her by pushing her into a truck. Meg's death had made him popular at school, and he didn't want her to ruin everything he had. However, Chris soon faced some consequences for his action.
You're good to go.
All right.
What are you doing?
Sorry, I got distracted by all this whapping the side of the van business.
Meg was locked in an abandoned warehouse, and no one could hear her cries, but she could still listen to her favorite music.
Siri, play Seals and Croft.
Darling, if you want me to be.
Meanwhile, at Meg's school, a memorial service was being held with her entire family present.
I'm gonna need 3 seats for my elbow supporters.
Refusing to accept her fate, Meg used all her strength to bash her head against the floor, creating a pool of blood to slide out. As everyone enjoyed the memorial, Meg burst through the doors, declaring she was alive, shocking the entire hall. Lois was overjoyed and asked what had happened. Meg pointed at Chris, saying he had done this, causing the principal to misunderstand and think Chris had saved Meg, signaling everyone to celebrate.
Hey, I'm not gonna make it this weekend.
Oh, but you're gonna miss the big janitor dance. This is our last chance to get laid before janitor college.
You think I don't know that?
Meg immediately corrected him, saying, "Chris kidnapped me to keep his popularity." But with his newfound fame, Chris stubbornly acted as if Meg were still dead. Surprisingly, everyone chose to believe him, even with Meg standing right in front of them. It was sad for Meg, but she found some comfort when Lois hugged her.
Yeah, Meg, I'm just really glad this whole ordeal is over.
Glad this whole ordeal is what? Over.
Come on!
Back home, she apologized to her mom for faking her death. Lois reassured her, saying women can fake many things, like death, orgasms, or being impressed with their husband's achievements. Meg has sensitive eyes in season 11, episode 13. It all starts with Chris, who is ridiculed by his classmates during math class for wearing ugly, brandless shoes. This makes high school even harder for him, reminding him of last year's equally bad experience when he tried to lose weight just to wear a cool baseball cap.
Hey guys, sure hope we win the big game on Saturday.
Get lost, dork. Yeah, gain some weight, will ya?
Oh, of all the years to be trim and well-hatted.
Not gonna make the joke I was about to make. Not this time.
Back home, Chris asks his mom for money to buy cooler shoes, but Lois refuses because the family is trying to save money. Peter even takes on an extra job as a vacuum cleaner salesman to boost the family's income.
This thing can pick up anything. Here's a little demonstration. I'll pour some wine, rub in some feces, and to top it off, some mustard mixed with feces. Tough stain, right? Oh crap, I forgot the vacuum.
Desperate to avoid wearing the ugly shoes, Chris sneaks into his parents' bedroom to steal money. The turning point of the episode occurs when Meg catches him in the act. With a confident look, Meg tells Chris she saw him steal money from Mom's purse, and that if he wants her to keep it a secret, he must do everything she wants. Chris has no choice but to agree. When Meg hands him a long list of tasks, he realizes his mistake, but can't turn back. Poor Chris does everything Meg wants, from cleaning her room to doing her homework, but Meg is still not satisfied. She wants Chris to watch An Officer and a Gentleman and read a script she gives him when Richard Gere carries Deborah Winger out of the paper mill at the end of the movie.
That's gonna be you someday, Meg.
I know it will. I just know
Meg's challenges for Chris become increasingly difficult. This time she wants Chris to put contact lenses in her eyes, warning him, "My eyes are very sensitive, they might overreact." Indeed, the process is tough. When Chris tries to insert the lenses, Meg's pupils move, scaring him, and Meg loses her vision, creating a chaotic and humorous situation.
Ah! You look like one of those blind jazz guys!
Where are you? I can't see anything!
Thinking it's all over, Chris is shocked when Meg continues to demand more. She makes him stand outside the pregnancy clinic for 36 hours straight, taking pictures of all the girls from their class who enter. Chris completes the last task on Meg's list, but she has no intention of letting him go. Even though he looks exhausted, Meg keeps threatening Chris and forcing him to do things he doesn't want to do. Finally, Chris rebels, declaring he won't be Meg's slave anymore. The siblings have a fierce argument, and Chris decides to run away from home. Unable to endure his evil sister any longer, he runs straight to their neighbor Herbert's house, asking to stay over, making Herbert think he's dreaming.
Live with me? My goodness, I feel like I want to pinch myself to see if I'm dreaming. Hot dog, it's real!
That night, Herbert takes a Cialis pill and tries to approach Chris's bed, but everything seems fine until Chris farts, scaring Herbert away.
Sorry.
You really know how to waste a Cialis,
Do what you gotta do, man.
The next morning, Chris angers Herbert by messing up all the videotapes he had meticulously organized. Chris explains he was looking for a good movie to watch, but only found strange titles like Compilation of Boys Tumbling. Finally, he finds a familiar title, but Herbert doesn't let him watch it.
Well, can we watch Lost Boys? I've heard of that one.
Those are different Lost Boys.
Meg starts to worry and searches for Chris everywhere, but can't find him. Chris's messy and lazy lifestyle makes Herbert very uncomfortable. Chris is addicted to video games and hardly cares about cleaning the house or Herbert's feelings. When Herbert complains, Chris responds disrespectfully, leading Herbert to kick him out.
I think it's time for you to go.
Okay, I'll go. But I want you to know, I faked all my lightheadedness. Good Kool-Aid. Whoa, whoa. Sound familiar?
Meg is overjoyed when she finds Chris. She apologizes for blackmailing him and begs him to come home. Feeling Meg's sincerity, Chris forgives her and they leave together, leaving Herbert in sadness.
We broke up!
In Season 11, Episode 7, Meg has a heart on her head. Sounds ridiculous, right? But you'll see it's true in this episode. Meg is a boy-crazy girl, especially for handsome ones. At school, she has a crush on a good-looking guy named Kent, but she doesn't dare to ask him out because she thinks she's not pretty enough. So she only dreams about him.
I think she's choking. Should we wake her up?
No, she's got to learn to breathe out of her nose.
Her dream continues when she sees Kent at the sports field. This time, she imagines Kent as a Prince Charming, riding a horse with her. Romantic, isn't it? But it makes her lose focus.
Have you ever started talking to a girl and she starts daydreaming while doing questionable things with her mouth on a hot dog? You better marry that one.
And she almost gets hit by Mayor West's car. She runs over to ask if the mayor is okay. He says she's lucky because this is his destination. Then he climbs a tree to incubate eggs.
And the job exchange begins.
Sir, do you want to move ahead on the agreement with the sanitation union? Sir, we need leadership.
After this, Meg decides she will ask Kent out no matter what, but she doesn't have the courage to call him. Maybe she's afraid he'll reject her. She tells Lois that she has a crush on a guy at school and doesn't know if she should call him. Lois replies that if it were her, she wouldn't do it, but Meg isn't her, so she should decide for herself. Taking a deep breath, Meg decides to call Kent, but he doesn't recognize her until she hints at the Facebook campaign.
It's Meg from English class, and math class, and bio. In the Facebook campaign to get me to kill myself?
Oh, Meg! Hey, what's up?
Meg gathers all her courage to ask Kent out, and to her surprise, he agrees, making Meg feel relieved and overjoyed. Kent comes to pick Meg up for their date. While waiting for Meg to shave, he chats with Chris. From his behavior, Lois sees that Kent is a good person, while Peter posts a new tweet.
Daughter going on a date. Is there a slow down button on this life thingy?
In the cinema, Meg sees people around her getting cozy, and she wants to do the same with Kent, but he rejects her. Meg continues to send signals by saying she's cold, even though sweat is dripping down her shirt. She says this because she wants to hug Kent, but he remains indifferent and even leaves her alone to watch the movie.
And now, our feature presentation, Adrian Brody doing sit-ups in 3D.
1, 2.
When Kent takes Meg home, she wants him to be her boyfriend and kiss her goodbye, but Kent rejects her and confesses that he's gay. Even more surprising, Kent says he likes Meg's brother, leading to a funny misunderstanding where Stewie thinks Kent has feelings for him and brags to Rupert. After learning the truth, Meg cries a lot, scaring the family and making them avoid her. Only Brian is stuck and has to talk to her. Meg feels hopeful after hearing his encouraging words.
Maybe he thought he was straight, but then realized he's gay. He's probably still figuring things out. Hang in there.
Well, I'll help him figure things out. I'll help him figure out that he's straight.
That was really close.
While Kent was flirting with Chris at school, Meg came over and pulled him aside for a private conversation. She told him that she had a feeling he wasn't really gay, despite Kent's insistence that he was. Meg didn't believe him because of the way he talked and acted, like playing sports, wearing jeans that cost no more than $20, and using the word hello appropriately. Kent denied everything Meg said, and during this conversation, Meg revealed that she had a serious medical condition where her heart was located in her head.
It's a serious medical condition.
Yeah, that's not supposed to be there, so she should probably always wear a hat.
Undeterred, Meg continued to pursue Kent by showing him a picture of her hairy back and inviting him to hook up. This time, Meg went too far, making Kent angry and unwilling to be friends with her.
I can't be your boyfriend. In fact, I don't even think I can be your friend.
Her close friends asked what had happened, and Meg told them that Kent didn't like her, but liked Chris instead. Her friends were shocked, but encouraged her, saying there were plenty of sweet guys out there. However, Meg was too infatuated with Kent. She couldn't stop thinking about him, and every time she did, the heart in her head would beat wildly. She wished she could sleep with Kent just once to see what it would be like. Hearing this, her friend suggested, if Kent hooks up with Chris, you could ask Chris to describe it to you in detail. Awakened by her friend's words, Meg began planning to make Chris sleep with Kent. She wanted to use the free hug coupon Chris had given her on her 9th birthday, but upgrade it to a butt hug coupon for Kent. Hearing this, Chris told Meg she was crazy and that he would never do it because he only liked girls. Meg tried to persuade Chris by offering him $100, but this only made him more uncomfortable.
I said no, Meg!
I'll pay you $100.
Oh, fine. I'll keep it in my bum. There'll be plenty of room. That's my sarcastic way of saying it's not gonna happen. Good day, Meg!
Meg approached Quagmire to ask for a packet of sedatives to drug Chris. Before she left, Quagmire wished her luck and told her to call him if she got caught.
That's what it's all about, Glenn. Don't rape it back, rape it forward.
Continuing with her plan, she met with Kent and lied, saying that Chris wanted to hook up with him, but warned Kent that the kid will pretend to be asleep during the act. Whoa, what a great sister. She spiked the Kool-Aid with the sedatives and called Chris, finding him in her room. There, he showed Meg a picture of them as kids on a family trip to remind her of the good times. Feeling guilty about her plan, Meg poured the Kool-Aid onto a plant, which then attacked another plant after it passed out.
Hey, so can I have some of that Kool-Aid now?
No, actually you can't.
When Kent sneaked into Chris's bedroom, he found that Chris didn't want to sleep with him and called Meg to explain. She was forced to reveal her plan.
Well, like I said, I changed my mind. I didn't do it, but, I was kind of gonna roofie you.
As Kent stomped out, he brushed past Stewie, leaving him disappointed.
That's way
But
worse than
Stewie's
what I was
bad
gonna
luck
say.
didn't end there. He mistook the sedatives for candy, ate one, passed out, and was approached by the plant.
What's this?
Ooh, candy!
The next day, Brian comforted Meg by telling her she just needed to wait for some guy to make a mistake. Meanwhile, Stewie complained that he might have poison ivy on his butt.
Hey, do either of you know what poison ivy looks like?
In Season 5, Episode 15, Meg is unable to speak or move after using a certain substance.
Meg, what happened to you?
She can't answer you. She can't even talk. Ever since she started smoking pot, she just kind of lays there. It's really sad.
In Season 12, Episode 8, we see Meg getting bitten by a snake, which causes her entire body to swell. In season 4,
that's like one of my biggest fears, man, is getting bit by something like a snake or like a really big hornet or something. Oh God. But yo, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to comment, like, and or subscribe. It's your boy Blasphemous HD. Twizzle.